Chicagoland Speedway. So glad to have you along with us over in YouTube and live around the world. Welcome once again to VirtualRacing.Network's live, uninterrupted coverage of the US IndyCar League here for Season 11. It's been awesome to be with you all season long here for the US IndyCar League, and we get set for action today. We head down trackside. See where the drivers are at on their qualifying laps. Looks like it is David Strid who had just set the fastest lap on his first lap at 25:09. But just as soon as we say that, Rick Lovison with an amazing lap out of nowhere, topping David Strid's time of 25:09 with his own a 25:09. I think we could see it a little bit clearer there on the screen, down to the thousandth of a second. But at the moment, Lovison currently your pole sitter, and now we're looking at Graham Bunyan, your unofficial season 11 champion, as he dives down on the apron, and just like that, puts his time up at the top of the board at 25:07 that time. Bunyan up into first place. As we take a look at who else is on the track, we've got David Worrell. Perhaps Worrell will have something to say and for Bunyan. And no, Worrell not able to improve enough to move up the order. Will be 11th starting today, 25:19 with do we have anybody else yet to go? Yes, we do. We do have David Zalesky. Now, this is definitely one driver that for this finale, I'm sure would love to get the pole position. Would love to start up at the front, possibly have something to say about the race today. We will have to see. Let us know if you're over in the YouTube chat room, if everything sounds good, looks good. Was trying to preview earlier. I could not get any of the audio to come out of YouTube for some crazy unknown reason, but if everything looks good, sounds good to you, that is the main thing out there in YouTube land. Everything looks good coming out of our broadcasting software at the moment, and that will be your starting order. Have it up there on the screen for you. Of course, Graham Bunyan taking your pole position. You'll get ready to go out there for a great day of fun and happiness, because he doesn't have to do any work for this title at all. It's just going to be a great day for him to just ride around. And here you can see the starting grid for today's race. Graham Bunyan on the pole, as we mentioned. Rick Lovison starting second, and David Strid starting on the second row. Countryman to Graham Bunyan, and then alongside will be David Zalesky. Starting on the third row, it's Howard Livingston next to Jason Lowe. Then Richard Kelbaugh, Mr. StickQuik himself, starting alongside Jeff Murray. And James Kennedy also starting alongside Dan Ench. Now, Ench and Lowe are pretty much going to be the battle that we are focused the most on today, because that is a battle for second in the championship. Take a look at that in just a second. Will Stern starting in 11th alongside of David Worrell. So glad to actually have 15 in the grid, in the order today. Take a look at the end of the starting order. There's Inigo Mardones. Mike West starting 13th, and Inigo Mardones starting 14th. Jeffrey K. Allen actually making his first start here with the series, with the league, and that is great. First time we've seen him out there. We look forward to seeing what he can do today. So we are set for 126 laps around Chicagoland. We do expect it to be a lot of drafting and a lot of work with the in-car adjustments. Keep that car underneath you today. Looking at the temperature, well, it's 80 degrees. The virtual time is actually 7:52 at night, so it is going to be getting later as we run. As a result, all the drivers riding around with clear visors so you can get the most visibility, as we see there with David Zielski. And so Graham Bunyan will start us from the pole. See Rick Lovison there in second. But Bunyan, as I mentioned, doesn't have to do anything today at all. So we watch the cars go down the backstretch. Now, one of the few things that I do want to talk about before we get going here is Chicagoland itself, presenting, it's a fun track to drive. It's mostly flat out, so there's not much worry of that. As far as learning the track, it's pretty simple to learn. But it does have banking around the entire track, and that does make it difficult because it's always putting a load on the car. So there are things to know about keeping the tires under you, keeping the car going well, but we'll see who can do it today for the season finale. It's season 11.
Green, 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 green.
Graham Bunyan will take us to the green flag. David Strid actually getting a great start just behind, and Rick Lovison now falls back to fourth place as David Zielski moves up into the third spot. Howard Livingston was looking great in practice earlier. Will it be another day for the Care Camps machine to move to the front and possibly take the victory? We will find out. He's moving forward quickly. Zielski now up into third, as you see Strid now moving up into the top spot, taking the position from Graham Bunyan. Have to imagine that Graham there sitting in second didn't fight that too hard. As we watch further back, it's actually well, you got Jason Lowe, as we mentioned, currently up a handful of points in the championship, fighting for second with Dan Inch. So Dan starting in 10th, looking to come forward, and he's going to have to put at least 10 points, or sorry, at least 7 points on Jason Lowe. Jason had done some of the math for me at the beginning, and basically there's a lot of different ways it can work out, but with all of with the fact that there is one drop race, as I say that, Jason Lowe setting the fastest lap of the race at 25:18 as he shadows Rick Lovison there, looking potentially at taking the position, but Lowe, as it stands with the drop weeks, actually 4 points shy of Dan Inch at the moment. So Inch would need to outperform by at least 4 points or more in order to make this one work for him and get that second place. But I've been assured that we will have points calculated very close to the end of this one, so we should be able to give you a live tally at the end. And there we have a car sliding off. It's David Zielski. Try to get a camera on that. There it is. He's into the wall on the inside. We don't know whether that will bring out the caution. The 7 car there sliding out of control and hitting the wall. Not how Zielski wanted to see this one turn out. Everything was going just fine until that. Running in third, it looks like just maybe possibly too much weight jacker, or the air got taken off the front of the car. Just go back to that, and of course that will open the door for everybody to make their first stops of the day. There, as Graham heads back up the track. Very interesting, and that is how aero can absolutely catch you out no matter what. always, always, always have to keep your... You have to keep your foot light and deal with any of those changes. So actually, as I said, now we've had another incident. Jeffrey K. Allen also having an incident here. I can see just getting too far down and actually touch the apron, and that's not what you want to do, putting one wheel down on the apron and the other on the racing track. You have to bring the car completely down onto the apron if you're going to try to do that line. But again, sometimes that line is only allowed in qualifying. Either way, yellow flag does not come out. While all of that craziness was going on, it was Jason Lowe who has now charged to the lead. You saw Allen and Zalesky heading back out onto the track, but it's Bunyan now in third. We'll go back and take a look at how all of that went down. There's been so much that has happened in the last 18 seconds. We'll go back to the lead there, Jason Lowe. And you can see there's so much going on behind. We won't have time to go back and take a look at it at this moment. But Graham Bunyan now in second. James Kennedy up into third. And now Howard Livingston in fourth, Jeff Murray in fifth, Rick Lovison in sixth. David Strid has moved back into the seventh spot. As you can see, it's starting to stack up a little bit further back. There with David Worrell coming forward, making a move around David Strid. Now Worrell up into seventh, up 5 spots today, as Strid battles with Will Stearns just behind. So Worrell coming forward. Perhaps Worrell, we have not seen Worrell that much on the broadcast, and so glad to have some new names popping up. Nice full field today for the finale, 15 cars. So glad to have everyone with us on VirtualRacing.Network and YouTube on our channel. I do appreciate it. So Jason Lowe now leads. So we're working lap 14, and it does look single file, but that does not mean that these drivers are not working hard. There's David Worrell working hard, moving forward in a hurry, up 6 spots now, and coming forward again. Worrell flying through the field, reminiscent of last night's Gateway IndyCar race, watching Grosjean pick them off one by one. And we welcome everybody who was watching the 24 Hours of Le Mans. So glad to have you now join. Oh, and there we're watching on board as the accident occurred. Worrell perhaps moving up the track and getting into Jeff Murray. Worrell backing down. And we will take a look at that. Unfortunately, Murray yellow. Through the grass. The wing on that car flopping around. The wheel on that car flopping around. It's a wonder that Murray can even control it and get that thing pointed forward. Wow, this has been an action-packed race thus far. Our first yellow of the day does finally fly as Jason Lowe puts a lap on an injured Jeff Murray car, and we will go back and take a look at what happened. Now, this is on board with Jeff Murray. You see David Worrell on your left. And we'll see if Worrell comes up. And it does appear as though Worrell just washes up, and that could just be aero push causing that. We'll go back and take a look at it from Worrell's side there. But unfortunately, that one, we didn't go quite far enough back, but that one taking out Jeff Murray. And at least one other driver, perhaps Will Stearns, getting caught in the middle of that one. Just go slowly, and you can just watch as the car washes up the track, and you see the input on the hands there on the wheel, and he's given it quite a bit of lock, Worrell is, but just couldn't give it enough to keep it off of, and you can see off of Jeff Murray, and you can see Will Stearns spinning in the background, unfortunately getting caught in the middle of that one. So as we're watching that, of course, some cars actually taking advantage of this caution and coming in to do a pit stop. We'll check this one more time, and they're pretty much plain as day, and no place for Stearns to go. So getting caught in the middle, and that'll hurt. And so now what we have is a very interesting situation in terms of pitting, where Mike West has not yet pitted. Let's go ahead, and pace car still has its lights on. Let's take a look at how this works. So Lowe, Kennedy, Mardones, Bunyan, Levison, Strid, and Kelbaugh all stopping just now. So some of the drivers that, so basically there's just the Mike West who has not stopped. So taking advantage, staying out 18 laps, knowing that still quite a few laps to go. Perhaps there will be another caution, but it's quite a difficult strategy. And the reason is because potentially it does leave you exposed. If there is no caution, you will have to make a green flag stop, and that will be very, very costly. You'll have to definitely go down at least a lap if you do that. So the gamble's afoot anytime that a yellow comes out at a very certain point. It's always going to shake some things up. And in the meantime, we can go ahead and take a look at the current points as they stand right now. Pace lights still on the pace car, so going around for another lap here, but it's Graham Bunyan who currently leads it. Actually, we'll be going green next time by. Graham Bunyan, of course, leads the points by a very healthy margin. You know, Graham with 7 wins overall, 8 pole positions, the most bonus points of anybody. Obviously, Graham kind of in a league of his own this season, but it hasn't been that far off. And kind of like last season, or last race, excuse me, you saw how everything can go away very quickly for the leader if things get caught out the wrong way. So Graham is definitely, statistically, it has worked out amazingly well for Graham this season. But will it work out that way in season 12? I have a feeling that there may be some different names that we see up in the top end of that order, as some of these drivers really do sharpen up and figure out some more of those strategies and the different ways to get up there. But that battle in second and third place is the one to watch. Dan Inch and, of course, Jason Lowe.
Green, green, green.
So we go back to green, and Graham Bunyan takes us, or no, I'm sorry, I'm so used to seeing that livery and saying Graham Bunyan, but it is in fact his teammate, Mike West, from Yakima, Washington. Just over the hill for me. And Mike West will lead us to the green flag, but I imagine it will not be long until we see either Jason Lowe or James Kennedy moving to the front. And here we are on board with James Kennedy going to the high side around Mike West through turn 1, exiting out onto the backstretch. Lowe stays back a few car lengths and lets West and Kennedy try to work it out. Kennedy still trying to work that high side. And this is definitely something that I saw in my racing here earlier this season. So we see West and now Bunyan, that last lap, actually setting the fastest lap of the race at 25:04. These drivers now falling into more normal pattern of the race as we get into the center part of this race. They're going to start thinking about how can I settle down a little bit and not have to work quite this hard out here. But James Kennedy up into the front, passing Mike West, now taking to the lead of this race. I think Kennedy wants to take a second win here this season and let everybody know that you shouldn't be forgetting about James Kennedy. Kennedy is a winner and a championship caliber driver each and every time that he suits up. So we'll see what he can do in season 12. That we are looking forward to. In the meantime, you still got to get through this one. Just one more race to go. One race where you're going to go through another 100 laps of this one. You got to give 110% because there's still points out there on the line. You can finish a couple of places higher or perhaps one place higher. But either way, it's another chance at doing better. You show up with your A game each and every race, and that's what's so great about these competitors in the US IndyCar League. Always fighting hard, but doing it clean, and that's something else we'll talk about here in just a minute. But of course, we do have the ability to keep track of just how clean these drivers are, as Inigo Mardones is now currently shown in fourth, 10 spots up from where he started. He is on the lead pitting fuel strategy, so that is totally legit. Up from 14th into 4th. He's just talking with another driver the other day on a different Discord. His teammates with Inigo Mardones, considering joining over to the US IndyCar League and being part of this great group. You see Jason Lowe just in front of Inigo, and absolutely lots of drivers really looking at season 12, having seen the growth of the US IndyCar League over the past couple of seasons and how great the racing is. They want to get in on it, so if you do too, definitely head over to iRacing.com. You can apply via the iRacing leagues. Just go to US IndyCar League. Just search for US IndyCar League under the leagues, and you'll find it there. You can also look up Jason Lowe, who's currently the main administrator as far as users go, so and different drivers and that kind of communication. So look them up. Jason Lowe takes a look to the outside of Mike West, not able to do it there. And so, yeah, one of the things that I'm trying to keep track of here, I have access to all of the incidents that these drivers have caused over this whole season, and who is the cleanest and who is not. I'll have that answer for you when we get to our next yellow flag. We look at Graham Bunyan perhaps taking a look on the outside. So, yeah, whoever holds that inside line, presuming that they can just stay there, it's going to be really, really tough to get around them. It's not impossible, but that's what we encountered in our league race, and it's looking like that's kind of the style of this IndyCar Aero package at Chicagoland. This is the way that it goes. Look back, Rick Levison here in 6th. He's dropped 4 spots since that great starting position up there in 2nd. Kind of shocked to see such a great qualifier, but we're glad to see Rick moving up that pace and getting up there into the front. Wants to get the Berkshire machine back up there on the podium like last week. Take a chance on getting an interview at the end of the race, and you know, with those kinds of finishes, it's going to be Rick Levison we're talking about in championship form next season. But as we look at the driver who is just behind Rick Levison here, don't you count out Dan Ench. Dan is, you know, Dan works his own strategies. He has been racing for quite a while on iRacing, and he has pulled strategies out of places that people don't even know exist. As he dives down the inside of Rick Lovison for the 6th position. Now Dan is up 4 spots on the day and starting to look really, really racy there in the Alls.org machine. Trying to get the message out about Alzheimer's Association. Of course, doing a great job at it. We did have the race earlier this season, the Alzheimer's Association race, and that was terrific. Got a chance to get the message out, but of course you can always go to alz.org and find out more. It's just another one of the very cool things as we see Graham Bunyan now making his way forward. Now starting to take on Mike West, whose tires must be starting to really fall off as they've gotten quite old. It's Mike, I have to remind you, we are now on lap 37 and Mike West has not pitted. All of these drivers having newer tires and more fuel than Mike. So it is now James Kennedy in first as I'm going to go back to that. Wow, that got very close there. Mike West kind of falling back. This is, I was starting to cut to the leader again, James Kennedy. This very interesting. It's Graham Bunyan in second, and Jason Lowe now diving to the inside, bringing Mike West forward. And don't look very far back because, or do, but if you do look back, it's the white and purple machine coming forward. That's Dan Inch as well. Dan Inch, as I mentioned, looking super racy right now. Now up into 4th spot, so that's how quickly things can change here at Chicagoland. So your running order now, James Kennedy started in 9th, currently in 1st place, and there's no way that James can run off the front, I don't think. I've never seen it myself, but one driver can do it. It could be James Kennedy. Has that kind of pace to do so, but up a second to Jason Lowe. Let's see if take a look at the blimp. Can we even see it from on board the blimp? I can't see the gap. I can't see both cars in the same frame. That's how far that gap is. But it's now down to 0.8 of a second as Jason Lowe starts to creep back up towards James Kennedy. That super powerful draft. It does seem like Kennedy really made an effort to pull out a second gap on Lowe, and Bunyan. But what's happened to Bunyan? Bunyan has fallen back a bit, dropping now back behind Inigo Mardones. So perhaps just deciding it got a little too hectic up there at the front. Maybe had another run in. I'm not, I don't want to divulge too much because there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes. And after races, sometimes things get a little heated. But, you know, as far as there being some drivers that feel like other drivers have not been racing them as clean or perhaps as fair, it's true. Even, you know, as clean and professional and gentlemanly as this group really is, sometimes tempers do flare after races, and there have been some words exchanged, and I think everything starting to get ironed out now, but definitely it's caused some turmoil. Nevertheless, all the drivers getting back together for this finale here at Chicagoland, and we're so happy to see that. As we can see the drivers fighting it out for second and third, as Mike West now dropping down the order, having problems getting onto pit road. Finally making it onto pit road. We're just going to back that straight up and take a look at that. What happened to Mike West? Mike West deciding to pit. Tries to get it slowed up. Oh my, and actually missed the pit entry. I think Mike is probably going to get penalized for that. That might have been a very, very costly mistake for Mike West, unfortunately, because Mike was having a great race going until that happened. So tough tough news for Mike, the American, out of Yakima, Washington, unfortunately, but that he's still sitting on pit road, undoubtedly serving that penalty. So back up to the lead. It is James Kennedy in first. He's been there for a little while, moved out there after the yellow flag, and just behind it's Jason Lowe, who has come from over a second back now to be just 0.2 of a second back. You see there, just 3 car lengths. Now slotting into third spot, Inigo Mardones. You see Mike West exiting the pits, heading back out onto the track. Now down a lap. And as I mentioned, that Mike would have gone down a lap anyway, just by the fact that Mike stayed out in the previous caution. So the extra penalty obviously not helping. So Mike is going to go, well, Mike is down 3 laps now. So Mike is on his on the 45th lap, and the leader is working he's already completed 48, working on 49th lap. Anyway, back to the action on screen. It's Kennedy leading Lowe. It's a tight battle for first right now. All 3 of your drivers could be covered by a blanket. What will Mardones have to say about this, if anything? Trying to perhaps get up there to the front and get one of those bonus points for leading the race. Mardones takes a look to the outside of Lowe. It's probably the only way that he'll get it done. Lowe kind of backs out a little bit. Back over to Lowe. I think just giving that position to Mardones if Mardones wants it. So for those of you who don't race iRacing, this is that sound that you hear. It's a beautiful sound if you're a motorsports nut like any of us are, but to hear that, the drone of the virtual Chevy or Honda in the back of this car operating at those high RPMs the entire race. So I tell you what, after it's all over, it's nice to just hear the silence, but it is a glorious sound to hear going around a racetrack for sure. And speaking of that, look up in the front. It's Inigo Mardones again around the outside. Just trying to get it done and get up into that lead, perhaps collect a bonus point for leading. And this is something we've been talking about really all season long. We heard coming into this race that Mardones is one of the drivers that has very quickly arrived on the scene with some speed and some flashes of brilliance, someone to watch. We've seen Inigo come up to the front, lead some races, but never really be able to put it all together that we could get him up on the podium and perhaps talk to the Spaniard after the race if he's willing. But still would love to see kind of a payoff for all that hard work this season as Mardones now dives to the inside of Kennedy. I don't know, Kennedy just kind of moved and gave up the position. I think perhaps conceding it probably to save some fuel if I'm not completely far off in my strategy. We'll watch to see if Kennedy tries to make a move again or if he's content to just sit there. Take a look a little bit further back. This is David Strid. Now Strid was up in the front. We just saw, is he coming into the pits? He slowed dramatically there. And yes, coming into the pits, and we see, is that David Worrell? No, that was Kennedy in front. That was so sideways coming into the pits. Let's take a look at that if we can. So let's look at this entry again, going very long, very much like West did, and locking up heavily on entry. I'm sure Kennedy would not have met that speed with that big of a lockup still going on. So unfortunately, disaster may have struck for Kennedy, and we are going to watch and see how long Kennedy is actually on pit road, and now finally gets going again. We can see the pit lane time. That might tell us. That is 100% accurate, unfortunately, or where that is calculated from. Nevertheless, Kennedy in, getting service, and it'll be another 66 laps we need to put in there. And that turns over the lead to this driver, Dan Inch, who we've been talking about it. He's moved forward past Jason Lowe just a moment ago. And Dan Inch now pulling into the pits. We'll take a look at that pass as it happened on the track. There's Inch going by. Obviously making his way by Inigo Mardones first. So I think Inch will get a point for leading a lap, and that will be crucial. In fact, he will. We'll go back to the live picture. That was crucial to find that out, to be honest with you. We don't know whether Inch will get a shot at potentially leading again, but that one bonus point will count in Inch's favor. And now Lowe, of course, will take a bonus point as well. So very important for Inch to get that bonus point, be able to match the potential points outcome from this race. And Lowe gets it wrong, entering the pits, slams into the wall. Fortunately, it's on the entry to the pits. He'll be able to take repair. My goodness, so many drivers having trouble entering the pits. We're going to take a look again at how that all went down for Jason Lowe. So many drivers having trouble here with entry. And it's just, it just seems to want to get away from him, just slide out, right rear, wants to just slide out as he tries to get down onto the apron.
The yellow flag is out.
And now the yellow is out. We have Inigo Mardones off. What happened there? And here's on board with Inigo Mardones coming up onto the track. No, spinning around as he was exiting the pit lane onto the backstretch, spinning around, and I believe that is what caused the yellow flag as the leaders approach. So that probably will save Jason Lowe, though Lowe is still sitting on pit road. That at least will minimize the damage for Jason Lowe. And now things starting to fall apart for your series defending champion. Will this get rectified in some capacity? Will he be able to get his lap back? Will he go down 2 laps? I don't think so. I think he's still just shown 1 lap down now. So we'll see where the drivers are. There's Jason Lowe circulating around the track, about to catch up to the back. I think he was not just about to go a lap down, but it looked like he could. So we keep an eye on that. And while we are yellow, that will give us a chance. We can get all of this stuff off of the screen. Oh my goodness. Gives us a chance to go side by side and check out this amazing product. Now, of course, it's right in the title of the race. It's the StickQuik 190 here at Chicagoland. But what is StickQuik? I mean, you see it here on the screen on the right-hand side. And from my standpoint, totally off script, I'm going to say StickQuik is changing my life faster than literally anything else I can imagine. Every morning I wake up with a different idea of where I can attach something in my life. It's kind of taken over a little bit of my thinking time during the day. It's just, you start thinking of improvements. Like, for example, my front door is actually made of metal. So naturally, now anything that I can put this StickQuik silicone around will just attach straight to the front door. So if I want to have it close and handy for me to grab in the morning, it's nice and easy to do, or before I leave for the day. I also have a little dry erase board on my front door, and so this manages to help me keep my pens on there as well. So I can just grab it straight off the front door. I don't have to worry about putting it anywhere else. It's so cool. Like I already told you, I can put my razors up in my bathroom. I can do things in my shop I could never do before with attaching tools to my my workbench as well as my toolbox. I mean, it just offers endless opportunities. Patented StickQuik is the only product of its kind designed to hold multiple types of hand tools, cooking utensils, and writing implements to any surface, making the item ready for instant retrieval and use. You get 6 of them in a package. Just go to stickquick.com. You can get them in any color that will work for you. There's like 6 or 8 different colors or something like that that you can get them in. I got them in green. That's my favorite, but if you're red or blue or black, white, whatever you need, they've got that. Head on over there, get your pack today. I think I saw they also sell them on Amazon, but head over to stickquick.com, get yours direct. Of course, we do also have Rick Kelbaugh, CEO, I believe, of StickQuik, and he is in the field.
One more lap.
Got one more lap until we go green. Appreciate them letting us know that. So we go back to live coverage here. And Mr. StickQuik, of course, looking good out there in the StickQuik livery. Rick, again, it's multiple different people working together that run StickQuik, and so it's great to have them not only partner the series but make this great product here and sell it to us here in the USA and everything. Just a great partner to have involved with the US IndyCar League over this season and previous season. And of course, as we take a look here, we're gonna do one more lap, and James Kennedy is your leader. David Strid in second, and Dan Ench will start in third. Now back to Jason Lowe. He did manage to get that lap back. He did get the wave around. He had just pitted, obviously, to take fuel and tires. So this yellow saves Jason Lowe. If he had gone one more lap down, if the yellow had not come out, he would not have been able to stay on the lead lap, and that would have definitely compromised his ability to finish at the top of this one. But as we watch that battle for second place in the championship, it's going to be so crucial to see if Lowe can get back up to the front and pass Ench and stay up there at the end of this race. So we look to see possibly a shootout at the end of this one, as long as they all stay on the same lap together. In the meantime, we've got James Kennedy in the lead, David Strid starting second, Ench in third, Worrell up to fourth, Livingston in fifth, Lovison in sixth, Kelbaugh in seventh, Mardones in eighth, Lowe in ninth, and Mike West a lap down in 10th. As we head back to the green flag, and it's Kennedy with a later start than we see a lot of drivers with, and that gives Strid and Ench a chance to really get right behind. As you see, it's Ench fighting with Strid. Ench edging ahead of Strid as they head through three. We'll just watch on board Dan Ench and see how this one unfolds. To go around this non-classic V-shaped track. It's not a classic 1.5 miler at all. It is certainly all banked and all turns all the time, so I hope you like turning the car, because that is this track. Inch trying the outside. Cannot get it done. Pulls it back down low, can't get it done, and is going to stick to the outside. Again, this is pretty much what we would expect here at Chicagoland. You just can't quite get around, but we've seen a few drivers be able to pull it off. Very, very difficult to do. Just not quite able to get the long draft that you would need to get the amount of speed to make that pass come off. And so if that driver can hold to the inside line who's in front, you have a tough time making that pass. Inch and Kennedy a little close together on that one, as these two sort of run off the front a little bit. We saw Lowe getting very, very close there, believed to Lovison, as Inch just manages to slot ahead, and of course, the moment that we would turn the camera, we missed it. Fortunately, due to the wonders of the internet, we're able to go back and watch it. And here was Inch sliding by. I guess Kennedy decided he had had enough. You know, this, as I mentioned before, Kennedy, as we go back to the live picture, you see Dan Inch still in the lead. You know, this very well may be a fuel mileage decision by Kennedy to simply let Inch go by and to try to hang out in the shadow of the air shadow, the wrap of Inch. And that will, just by itself, being able to lift off the gas just like you're behind a semi on the highway, take your foot out of the gas and save a little bit of fuel. And there Jason Lowe goes to the fastest lap of the race, puts down the fastest lap of the race with the assistance of the draft at 25:01. So over halfway through, and Lowe still putting in fast laps, trying to chase down Dan Inch. I think, you know, we've seen this show from Jason Lowe before. I'll be honest with you. We've seen the whole Danny Sullivan spin and win sort of routine, and Lowe's getting to be an old hat at it. I thought we were seeing Lowe doing away with these momentary issues coming into the pits, etc. But it's not ever over. It's always something, you know, that all of these drivers, every driver deals with, even the very, very best. And we saw Graham Bunyan struggling with pit entry last week, and it's not easy to drive these cars. They may make it look easy at over 200 miles an hour, but it is not easy. And the transitions between bankings, etc., is really difficult to get just right, even for somebody as experienced, not just with sim racing, but with real life racing as Jason Lowe. I mean, this guy's driven dirt cars. He's driven, you know, SECA. He's driven all kinds. He's driven sideways, literally, for an entire race before. And it just goes to show you that even after all that experience, with the pit entry, you can still get it wrong, just going sideways a little bit, and very difficult to correct these cars once they get going sideways. Nevertheless, that yellow coming out when it did pretty much saved this race for Jason Lowe, able to rebound, get the car fixed, and now he's back up in third and challenging for second. Lowe knows he is going to have to stay very close or perhaps beat Inch in order to secure this one and secure second place in the championship. So we work on lap 81 here. It is actually Dan Inch out in the lead. Dan doing absolutely everything he can to try to bring that Alzheimer's Association car home in first place, get a chance to do an interview from victory lane, and that's only half of the goal. The other half, trying to chase that second place in the championship and secure it. Last season, not as difficult. Jason Lowe winning the championship and Dan Inch running a strong second in the championship, able to secure that. But this season, Inch having to fight substantially harder with Graham Bunyan coming back, a number of other very talented drivers entering the series this year. And yet Dan has been consistent, though I'm sure if you talk to him, he would love to have been more consistent. But nevertheless, consistently finishing the races, consistently finishing in the top 5. And that's how you do championships, you know? Can't always win the championship, but if you can come in second through some consistency, every young driver can take note of that. It's not about just going out there being the fastest and winning. It's about making the most of your tools and surviving the race and being there at the end. But Dan not really okay to just settle today. Dan is running out front. He's doing everything he needs to do to try to take second place in the championship. As we look a little bit further back, it's Livingston battling with Strid. Livingston was very fast in the opening practice for this race today. And so, as we were talking earlier, qualifying 5th and coming off of that victory in Vegas just a couple of weeks ago, Livingston really now starting to enter that championship picture in terms of capability and gaining the confidence to do so. I think a track like this is very similar to Vegas, so will we see Livingston at the right place at the right time at the end again today? We will have to find that one out in just 40 laps. So these are clicking off very quick. We're under 40 laps to go here in Chicagoland as the lights come on and it is getting cooler on track. The tempers hopefully staying cool as well, but might be flaring. I know it's time to start getting closer to the edge of your seat because we're going to start seeing some things shaking out here pretty soon as these drivers start jockeying for position, trying to make their way up to the front. Now, I do have a note here that Inigo Mardones has entered the pits, possibly having a problem. We'll take a look at him over there on pit lane. Now, and they're exiting the car, so that's going to do it for Mardones. Unfortunately, perhaps not recovering from the earlier incident, and that will put him with Zalesky, Stearns, and Murray, who are out of the race. Now, currently, Graham Bunyan, Mike West, and Jeffrey K. Allen shown a lap down, and Graham Bunyan is several laps down. So we don't have a note. We didn't see a note that Bunyan went off track or made contact, but that doesn't mean it didn't happen or that there wasn't a scrape with the wall that we could have missed. So we're watching these drivers battle it out here. Van Inch on the outside as Kennedy moves back down to the inside, and there Jason Lowe and Dan Inch now side by side as David Strid now comes forward in the very familiar Team Penske machine. Inch now sliding back into the clutches of, I can't tell if that's West or Bunyan, and it looks like Inch wiggling a bit there, having issues. Did Inch tap the wall? Inch not looking as fast as he was. He's drifting up the track. I think Inch possibly hit the wall and is now off the pace. And there, he slides sideways through the grass.
The yellow flag is out.
And now brings out the yellow flag. And that self-inflicted yellow flag may have just saved Dan Inch's race, very much the same way that the yellow flag saved Jason Lowe's race. What an amazing turn of events, because Inch will be able to take service and fix this damaged car. We've got to go back and see if we can figure out exactly what happened. We'll back it up to this point and see if we go on board. There was Ench coming out of the pits, it appeared. And did Ench make contact with somebody? We'll have to watch and see. Nevertheless, very strange moments here as Ench drifts up the track. That was David Worrell, who's going around the outside now. And they were fighting for position. Might have been try to see if we can move it. We can actually move it ahead. That was actually, I apologize, that was a little bit earlier. Well, we'll go back to this moment. And there, so, well, that was what we saw on screen. Just really struggling to find the exact moment that this happened for Dan. So I guess we could just back it up on screen. And another thing to mention while we're taking a look at this and trying to pinpoint exactly what happened, it looked like maybe, is this the moment? Yes, and there Dan did drift up just there. Looked like he got a little loose and then got helped by the driver from behind, who probably had just nowhere to go as Dan started to fall back. Now the question is, did Dan have any damage at that point? We'll watch from overhead, and there he touches the wall, and that certainly would have damaged the car at that point. I believe the car behind is probably Mike West. There you see Rick Helbaugh getting by, and then it's right about here where Dan, yes, he scrapes the wall and almost swipes out Mr. StickQuik and spins around, and that, of course, does bring out the yellow flag as Dan comes back onto the track. So, will it be a spin and win for Jason Lowe? Will it be a spin and crash and win for Jason Lowe, or a spin and win for Dan Ench, as Dan stays on the lead lap? And I think he managed to get his car fixed. Taking a look through the notes here. And Dan Ench did take service, so my guess is he got it completely fixed and he'll be back underway. Some amazing stuff here at Chicagoland as we head into the night, and we see a couple of drivers get their wave around. I want to say that was Howard Livingston, but it couldn't have been. Who was that just took their wave around? It was Graham Bunyan. So Graham Bunyan will get at least one of those laps back, and as well as Inigo Mardones. Mike West still going to be trapped a lap down, and Ench now taking more service, so perhaps taking the end of that need to fix the car. Hopefully he does not have that bug that I have spoken about a few times now. So the lights are off on the pace car. Ench is going to have to hurry up and get around and meet the back of the field. And, you know, as we get ready to go, and Jason Lowe follows James Kennedy here, and Kennedy brings us back up to speed. I just thought I'd mention Chicagoland is not a secure venue. This may be going away, unfortunately. The writing may be on the wall. This track losing its NASCAR dates, and with COVID canceling most of its races, and right now doesn't have any racing on the calendar. But we hope it does come back. The racing is different and classic here, and hopefully they can work with IndyCar and NASCAR There's also there's a Route 66 Speedway involved as well, and NHRA. So hopefully they can get it all worked out. Meanwhile, we are back to green, and James Kennedy leading us around the track. On lap 97, Kennedy, I think, feeling a little buzzy in that cockpit there, having imbibed several of the beverages on the side pod. But no carbs. That's the main thing. You know that when you see the blue one. There's no carbs, so... there, Jason Lowe around the outside. Nope, can't quite get it done. Perhaps trying him on around the outside. It's amazing. You wouldn't know it if you looked about 30 laps ago and saw Jason Lowe spinning on pit entry and crashing his car. You wouldn't be able to predict that he would then... on cue, set the fastest lap of the race, 24.99 now, as he tries to make a pass around the outside of the leader, James Kennedy, for first. But that's how fast things can change. Your fortunes can change. You just got to stay with it. Again, as Lowe tries the outside of Kennedy, and maybe he'll get it done around the outside of Kennedy, we take a look back, you can see it's Lowe now trying as hard as he can around the outside, Strid in third. And as we were talking about, Howard Livingston loves these kinds of tracks. Well, Livingston finds himself in fourth. So will the Care Camps machine end up on the podium or up in victory lane today? It's very possible. Worrell having a great run here again today. So we see Lowe and Kennedy still battling up in front, but Worrell up 7 spots in fifth, looking great. Mr. StickQuik, Rick Kelbaugh, he's looking at a potential top 5. If he can clip one more off, Rick Levison running just behind, he's going to want that position for sure. But Mr. StickQuik trying to get that position solidified and hopefully catch back up to Howard Livingston and David Worrell. So these two possibly can work together if they'll swap draft with each other. We'll see if that can manage to happen. Of course, this being the StickQuik 190, so glad to have you on board with us over in the VirtualRacing.Network YouTube chat room. Hope you're enjoying this one. And I haven't seen any reports of any type in our YouTube chat room, so I am presuming we are all good to go technically. Having a little difficulty hearing my own playback in my monitor. You see Mr. StickQuik diving low and trying to keep Rick Levison behind him. These drivers have been racing together for quite a long time. They know each other very well. They give each other a lot of respect. Back up to the front. This is a 5-way battle for first here and we have Mardones going off again. What's happened now? Mardones running by himself and smacking the wall on exit of turn 4. Coming across the track. And that's probably going to do it as Mardones pulls it in. David Worrell made this pass a moment ago down the inside of Howard Livingston for a moment, but Livingston fought back valiantly and is now currently in 4th spot as Lowe now tries the outside of Kennedy again and straight pokes his nose up in there. But absolutely, if you like Chicagoland and you're Chicago area native, make sure you find some way to try to let them know that you like the track and you want to come back and you're ready to buy tickets. It's the only way you're going to save these places like this. And Milwaukee, you know, it's kind of similar. It's on the fence. As somebody who's seen some of these tracks, we all have, get raised over the years, turned into shopping malls and such. If you want to see motorsports stay alive in the United States or in your part of the world, you got to make sure you vote with your dollar and Sometimes it's necessary to get involved politically and let them know how important it is to the community. But anyway, back to this. Got a heck of a battle here. 5 cars battling it out. And actually, that is Rick Kelbaugh, who has managed to catch back up to the group. So we've got Rick Kelbaugh up there, and then Rick Lovison as well. Where is Dan Inch? That is the question. Dan Inch, 6 seconds back now, running behind. Lap car, I believe that's Jeffrey Allen. So Inch possibly off the pace. What kind of times? 25:71, and the leader's doing 25:43. So not going to work out for Inch to catch back up as we see a driver coming up onto the track, going high there. That looked like possibly Mike West going high on the track. But back up at the front, as we get down to 16 to go. Lowe dives to the outside. Lowe has the exact situation that he wants, where he is in control of more or less the race from the front. Can keep Dan Inch behind him, covering Dan Inch, so to speak. And Inch falling off of the lead that much, we don't know if he is going to be able to catch up. Most likely not, as I'm seeing the last lap time at 26:28. So there's definitely something wrong with that Alzheimer's.org car. Just not able to quite keep up onto the pace anymore. Take a look at that dashboard. It shows 214. I think that's several miles an hour off of the pace. As we watch Kennedy riding around, getting up to 220 miles an hour. So definitely Inch, unfortunately, 6 miles an hour off the pace. His pit crew just, you know, the alls.org pit crew has come a long way. They've done some good pit stops this year, but sad to say it doesn't look like they quite got all that damage fixed. Nevertheless, with 12 to go, we've got at least a 3-way battle here for first place. It's James Kennedy in first, one of our previous winners of the series. Actually won our very first race. How amazing would it be that he comes back after several races where he didn't compete, came back, gave us a good show again a couple of weeks ago, and now coming back potentially could take the victory here in Chicagoland. So I hope you're ready for the last 10 laps of this one. We sure are here in the booth for VirtualRacing.Network. If you're loving this action, though, make sure to stay tuned to VirtualRacing.Network on Wednesdays, especially for the Prime Meridian Racing League. It's a great series coming to the end of their first season. Lots of great IndyCar races going on here, as well as the end of the IndyCar iRacing series for 2021. That also being broadcast live here on VirtualRacing.Network. So you gotta hit that subscribe button. Make sure to like the video. You get notified of all of our upcoming races. You won't miss a moment as these drivers battle it out on screen. It's Kennedy still leading Lowe and Strid. You haven't missed anything. As we look back, it's Worrell now up into fourth over Howard Livingston at the moment. And Mr. StickQuik still eyeing that top 5 right there in 6th place. Could potentially get a top 5 out of tonight's race. Hanging on. It's almost as though he has a magnetic connection to the track. He's hanging on like he's got a magnet connecting him to the top 5. Perhaps he does. I don't know. I was trying to make some sort of StickQuik joke. Here we go, folks. 7 laps to go. and it is still anyone's race. You see back there, Kelbaugh still fighting it out with Worrell for that 5th spot, possibly going to get a top 5, Rick Kelbaugh, but we're looking at the top 3, and Strid now on the outside of Lowe. This really isn't what Lowe needs, though if he finishes ahead of Dan Ench, he will be the 2nd place driver in this championship. Ench has fallen well back now, 13 seconds back from Rick Lovison, so this is not going to be Dan Ench's race today, but it could be James Kennedy's race today or David Strid. So the American and the Australian do battle here as we watch Jason Lowe fading backwards off a few car lengths. We're on board with James Kennedy with 4 laps to go as tries to hold that inside line, and David Strid now slots in 2nd, trying to figure out the exact way by. They continue to run side by side out of turn 4 and through the tri-oval. Around this whole track. Absolutely great track for going side by side. You can do it the whole way around pretty much. Nice and wide. So just 3 laps remaining in season 12 for the US IndyCar League. Who will it be? James Kennedy, David Strid, or Jason Lowe? That is the question. Will Howard Livingston, who now creeps up into the picture, have anything to say about it? As we watch Strid on the outside with 2 to go, still trying to get something done. We see Graham Bunyan has gone off the track in the back after leaving the pits, having a moment. That won't matter for his championship. He's already the champion. But who will take today's victory? It's Kennedy still in front of Strid. Lowe hanging back in 3rd. I don't think he'll be close enough to get a run. It's going to be Strid or Kennedy. Kennedy leading through 4, drifts up the track a little bit. Strid moves up as well. Tries to take the position into the tri-oval. And Strid hangs out there but can't do it. It's James Kennedy across the start-finish line. He won the first race of the season, and he'll win the last one as well. James Kennedy, the Texan, a winner here in Chicagoland. Immediately pulling it down onto pit lane as David Strid continues to circulate. What a great finish there. I thought Strid might have had a chance. I thought he was saving it all for the very, very end there. We'll go back and watch that one more time. As Strid had a chance to do it, he sized him up. This coming around the start-finish stripe on the white flag. So Strid around the outside tries to get it done. Can't do it through 1 and 2, obviously. Now you would think he's going to fall back a little bit, come up with that draft, but I just think he didn't quite get enough of that draft and to run through 3 and 4 that he could carry the momentum onto the start-finish straight. Tries again, but just not able to get it done, and that's how close it was. Official margin of victory, just 5/100ths of a second. And that's how it looks to come in 3rd, or to come in 2nd, but of course to come in 1st is a whole different thing. And Kennedy only needed to keep it pinned to the bottom. Never really a challenge from David Strid, and he gets it done here. The fireworks go off for James Kennedy. So we go back to our live picture. Kennedy's pulled it in, and Strid now making his way down. It was a beautiful race today, and just a lot of fun to bring you. Take a look at the final results on your screen. And as you saw it live here at VirtualRacing.Network, There was no need to cut away to any commercials. It was action-packed, and it was a lot of fun to watch this finale for season 11. James Kennedy taking your victory. As I said, it's amazing because he won the first one. Now he's won the last one. So hopefully we'll get Kennedy here in the broadcast booth, get a chance to talk with him and find out what his plans are for next season. David Strid bringing it home in second. Strid's been fast every race that we've seen him in. Not a surprise to see him in second. Kind of shocked we didn't see him in first, but maybe next season. Jason Lowe in third, and will solidify that second place in the points. We'll have a final look at the points here in a minute. Howard Livingston running in fourth place at the end. Another great finish for that Care Camps machine. David Worrell rounding out the top five there. Richard Kelbaugh, Mr. StickQuik, not able to get that top five, but a great finish there in sixth. Kelbaugh absolutely, having major issues this season, health-wise and otherwise, but able to really gain some competitiveness in some different races, and this is a prime example of that. I think this is an indicator next season we may be seeing Rick Kelbaugh up in the top five more often, possibly up on that podium or in victory circle. Rick Levison there in seventh place. Another good run by Rick, another top 10. Just always quietly getting that job done in the top 10. Dan Ench, what can be said other than just another unlucky day? Ench had all the makings of possibly getting up there and doing what he needed to do to get second place in this championship, but that will go to Jason Lowe, as Dan Ench suffered really similar fate, or really similar issues as Jason Lowe, but a different fate, as Lowe able to take that to the podium, and Ench unfortunately ending up back in eighth. But look forward to seeing what Ench can do, of course, next season as well. Mike West in ninth, one of our winners in this series, again, also hitting the wall, having a couple of issues. Jeffrey K. Allen, new to the series, but getting a 10th place finish despite having an issue as well. Congratulations to him to finish in the top 10. Graham Bunyan, I'm sure, had a couple of issues that we did not really catch on screen. It just wasn't part of what we were focusing on at the moment, but it won't matter. We'll look forward to hopefully getting a chance to talk with the series champion. Inigo Mardones in 12th, having issues, as well as Will Stearns getting caught in an issue that was not his own making. David Zalesky also having an issue early on, as well as Jeff Murray getting caught up. Well, that was a great one, and I have to say it was a great season of coverage as well. Of course, we do get a chance to talk with some of the drivers, and we'll take a look and see who has managed to wipe their brows and join us over in the VirtualRacing.Network broadcast booth. And I think I see Howard Livingston, the driver of the Care Camps machine, has stumbled in. Hey, Howard, can you hear me over there on your side of the booth?
I got you, Trevor. Thanks, buddy.
All right. Well, I appreciate everything that you do for the series and everything you've been doing for the Coconut Castaways, with the Coconut Castaways for the Care Camps group all season long. You got fourth today. You had a podium earlier. You've won a race. This is actually shaped up to be a really good kind of end of the season for you. Your competitiveness has come way up. How did this race shake out for you? And how did you end up in fourth today? So many other drivers had many issues.
Yeah, actually, I'm surprised, to be honest with you, because I had a passing under yellow going into pits, and I was running fourth then, and I came back out pretty close to the end of the pack. So today was really about just staying out of trouble. It's this pit entrance is so difficult. The exit is so difficult, and it's a fast, tight track. So kind of our strategy was just drive a clean race and try not to get in trouble.
Well, you did that today. You haven't been able to stay out of trouble all season long, but you did manage to do that today, and that must have felt pretty good. Again, to see the Care Camps machine actually make it up there into the top of the order must feel pretty good and pretty rewarding with the amount of work that you've put in, and just to see the results start to move up for you. Taking a victory earlier, you were fast in practice here. I think things are shaping up for you and the Care Camps machine for season 12. What do you think?
Yeah, and we're just, I mean, we're honored to finish third in the standings this year. That's from where we started. I'll take that as a as a win. And we're looking forward to next year. It's going to be just a great, or next season, which starts in a couple of weeks, and really looking forward to that. I think we're our whole team's coming together here.
Absolutely. Yes. In fact, third position, you just took that as we appreciate Dave Zalesky doing the points very, very quickly. We can now tell everybody officially you did take third. You knew it before me. And that just due to the fact, let's see, by just 8 points, taking that, and that all due to this very final race and the way that it worked out with Dan Ench and of course the drop week. But congratulations. I mean, that's a heck of an accomplishment. Dan Ench, of course, very experienced racer, took second in the championship last year, has been consistently finishing this year. And for you to take second, or for you to take third, is a move up the chain. And I think people should start circling that number 13, Howard Livingston, as a potential championship contender next season.
I love it. From your lips to God's ears. and a big shout out to StickQuik and all the folks that put such a great effort into this. And a big shout out to you. Your broadcasts are just absolutely stellar and incredible, and I always enjoy watching them.
Well, I obviously thank you so much. Keep talking. No, just kidding. Thank you so much for saying that. You know, I mean, you guys put on an awesome show here, US IndyCar League. You're all great, clean, fun racers to talk with and to watch out on the track. You put on a great show each week. So we hope everybody enjoyed it over in the YouTube chat room. And Howard, it's been great having you on all season long. And of course, getting that message out about gear camps. Thanks for everything that you do. And thanks for competing. We'll look forward to seeing you obviously at the awards banquet, but then we'll look forward to seeing you next season as well.
Sounds great. And again, thank you for the incredible job you do.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Howard Livingston joining us from Florida, and he'll go on about his day. And in the meantime, we do also have our third place finisher joining us in the booth. And I have to say, Jason, now that was one very interesting race. And for a short period of time, your car was in pieces on pit lane, and things were starting to fall apart. I think the threat of going down 2 laps was even imminent. And somehow, not only do you manage to get your lap back, but you end up in third. Jason, where are you finding these magical horseshoes?
Well, I just got fortunate for where that caution fell. I had almost a minute of mandatory repairs, and I was about 30 seconds into it, or maybe 20 seconds into it, and the caution fell. And I was the last car who hadn't pitted, so I actually had a lap on everybody. So that allowed me just to stay on the lead lap once I got my repairs done. I lost it coming into the pits. Fortunately, I just bonked the nose cone, which was able to be repaired, and the car was okay after that. I was very fortunate that I didn't damage the side pod or something else. Again, not a very good way to enter the pits sideways like that. Just lack of talent. I work on my pit ins and outs every week, and I'm not perfect, or not even near perfect. But as today's race showed, a lot of people had challenges as far as getting into the wall or getting into the pits. It was a challenging day.
Yeah, this pit entry is a little weird. It seems like it should be easier than it is, and it can really catch you off. I think that transition, it's kind of like trying to get in at Vegas or one of those other tracks really fast. It can really catch you out and it did. It caught several drivers out. I believe it might have even caught Graham out again. And so, you got to, at the same time, something like that happens, Jason. And I was going to make a bigger point of it during the race, but I didn't. But you've got to stay focused. I mean, we know where you ended up in third, but at the time you drifted all the way back to 9th or 10th. You're thinking in your head, hey, Dan Ench is out there in the lead. I've got to get back out there and get those points so I can get second in the championship. How do you stay focused after something like this? Something goes wrong and you just have to collect yourself and get back into your race. How do you do that?
You just look at each corner as a new opportunity, and you don't think about the last corner. Stuff happens all the time when you're racing. Your fan quits working. You run out of tear-offs. There's all kinds of challenges you face as a driver. and you just have to keep going forward. Once I was back in like 9th, I knew that I could no longer fuel save, that I had to get up front. I knew that I had led a lap. I knew that Dan had led a lap. I mean, I was still, my goal in this race was to beat Dan Inch. That was what I was about, because that was going to decide second place in the championship. I mean, Graham Bunyan was so far out, he's in a different zip code, but me and Dan had a real battle going. I had done the math, and I just had to finish near him to beat him. I had no idea that Howard was going to come into the picture. That was a total surprise, just the way things washed out. But yeah, I mean, if I was going for 5th in the championship, I'd race for 5th. I was going for 2nd, so I was going for 2nd. As far as, I mean, that was my goal, was to get it. And you just got to put your head down, put your elbows out, and keep going forward when something happens. And it worked out for me today. I was a little bit disappointed that this is the first season I've gone winless. And I had some real bad results early in the year, so I'm very blessed and fortunate to come up to 2nd. But I mean, we all were fighting tooth and nail all season. I did get into Rick Levinson today, and I think that's the 2nd time this season I've run into him. So I gotta go buy him a beer or something, because that's not the way I like to drive. But I got out of the throttle and still washed up into him, and I feel bad about it. I did apologize to him. But congratulations to Graham. Congratulations to Howard, who is an excellent competitor, and he's almost flawless when you look at his safety record. And just what a great bunch of guys we have in this league that I enjoy racing with every week. Next week will be our off week, and then 1 week from that, we'll start season 12 all over again, and we'll go chase Graham some more.
Well, and speaking of that, and it is great that you bring that up about Howard. We'll actually talk about the incident points here in just a minute. But if drivers do, I mean, because this is awesome action, and you guys are so respectful of each other, it's a great growing league. It's getting better each season. I mentioned it before. They can go to iRacing.com and just apply to the league. Is that the best way to get in touch with you guys for next season?
That is the best way. We also have a Facebook page. We've made a policy change. Now we're going to let drivers practice with us that we may not have accepted in the past, as far as maybe they don't have a great IR, they don't have a great safety rating. But if they come and practice on Saturday and can prove themselves, we're going to open up our membership requirements a little bit. As long as you can hold a line and come race with us and prove yourself, we're going to give people a chance. Yesterday in practice, we had a guy named Chad Nominee come and join us, who was on my pit crew in real life for 3 years. And he's a new iRacer, and it really made me happy to have one of my real life racing buddies come and join us in the league, and he should be racing with us next season.
Oh, awesome. That is fantastic to hear. And I've been hearing from a couple of other drivers. I was just mentioning on broadcast, one of Inigo's teammates eyeing potentially joining the league as well. So different drivers hearing from drivers that are already in the league that this is a great one to join. So you're doing a great job, Jason, and the rest of the team here getting these setups together and each and every week and just putting on a great show. Thank you for everything you're doing for the league, Jason, and we're looking forward to seeing more great action from you guys out there at season 12. Anything else that you want to talk about season 12 since you're here? Any changes that you got on the horizon that you can let us know about? Or schedule or anything?
Well, David Zalesky is working on the schedule, and we'll have that out next week. We are going to we run at 80% fuel currently. We're going to shorten the fuel up a little bit more to try to stop every race from being a fuel mileage race. In that if we shorten the fuel up a little bit more, it's going to be pretty much impossible to do what we've been doing, which is get one extra stop. So more pit stops equals more opportunity for passing and for trouble, like we saw today. So that's the only major change we'll be making as far as I know. But Howard Livingston, Rick Kelbaugh, and Graham Bunyan and David Strid and I will all put our heads together. We may make some more changes. The setups will remain made by the league on Saturday and raced on Sunday. That's something we will not change. David Strid and Dan Inch and myself, I thought, brought some really good setups, and the whole group that practices on Saturday is really crucial to giving feedback and saying, hey, for example, yesterday we pretty much took the setup that we had, and David Strid and Graham said, this is not what we want. We want a lot less downforce. So we basically ran the race today with as little downforce as we could put in the car, and I think it made for some excitement. It may have caused some trouble, but it also made for some excitement, and I think that's a good thing.
You bet. Yeah. Well, those are all decisions that you make. I think people can understand them, but when you're running a league and one setup goes to everybody, as a fixed setup league would do, you have to make different decisions how that's going to affect the racing overall. You can't always just make it super easy, and you can't make it the most difficult setup in the world for people to drive. So a lot goes into that, and that's just why I'm saying you have a hard job to do to control that, but you got good people around you, and every week you turn out a great setup that turns out great racing. So it's made for great broadcasts. We've had an awesome time here at VirtualRacing.Network, and of course with Matt Kingsbury, who's not here with us today, but he was with us much during the season. Thank you again for putting on a class show, and we'll just look forward to season 12 coming up in a couple of weeks.
Trevor, thank you for everything. The Virtual Racing Network is such a great partner to have in our league, and thanks to StickQuik for putting the whole show on all season long. We could not do it without them, so thank you, StickQuik. And again, congratulations to Graham Bunyan. Y'all have a great rest of your weekend.
You betcha. Well, that was Jason Lowe joining us once again here, podium finisher, and getting it done when it needed to get done, finishing second in the championship, winning last season's championship. But this season, it was a different story, as there was a very certain driver that we saw flashes of in the previous season, but he came back all season long, and he was in another zip code, as you heard Jason Lowe say. And that driver, of course, was Graham Bunyan, who I do see is in our broadcast booth. And Graham, can you hear me over there?
Yeah, I got you, Trevor.
All right, boss. Well, great to have you with us. I know last race was frustrating, did not end the way that you wanted it to, was kind of like, a sour note in the middle of such a sweet season. And yet today, still more issues. We didn't catch most of them, sadly. The camera just was not really focused on your direction today to catch most of what happened, but you suffered through it. You still ended up finishing, and you are our season 11 champion. So congratulations, and just tell me what happened in today's race.
Yeah, look, first of all, congratulations to the podium, James, Dave, and Jason. They all race well. Look, I just clipped the wall out of 4. I didn't think it was that hard. I had no body damage, but I had suspension damage, so that sort of took me out of it. So I just putted around and took what I could take.
Just one of those races where you're hanging in there until the end and just trying to salvage what is left. I can understand that. Still, you didn't need the points today, but still trying to get that top finish for yourself, your team, and finish out the season strong. And we were talking with Jason Lowe. Now, Lowe had an pit entry issue, not uncommon to other drivers. Numerous others having pit entry issues. Of course, you yourself earlier this season, in what I thought might be a championship implications moment, having a major problem entering into the pits. But it turned out you had plenty of points, so you didn't have to worry about that. Still, when you have problems like that, like Jason did, he had to put his head down, get through the end of the race, because ultimately he got third place and was able to get the points to get into second in the championship. And for yourself, you did have a couple of issues along the way, and some tempers did flare with a couple of drivers, contact, in a couple of different cases, but you kept your head down all season. You still showed up every race. You got pole positions, you got wins, and you got the championship. And Graham, that's how you get it done. And it must feel great to have pulled out this championship.
Yeah, look, it always feels great to win anything. To take out a championship's another thing, and I've had a few things going on in the background in the last 2 weeks, which sort of have taken my focus away from driving on the track, and things are just steaming in the back of my head. So I'm just going over and over that. But I've been pointed out I can't make it about myself. But it is what it is. I don't know. I just do it because I love it. It's, and just like these guys, they love racing day in, day out.
Absolutely. Well, and again, this is a private league. It's a small group of people, so if you have an issue, there's not much room to move your arms about before you hit somebody. And yet, when we talk about the other series that are going on throughout iRacing, like the Fixed Series, etc., where you've done quite well in all of those before, you're up against the public and tempers flare in almost every single race. So it is kind of a good thing to be in a series like this, where the general intent is respect, and hopefully you can get in those clean races. But certainly in iRacing, you got to have a thick skin to some sort, because at 220 miles an hour, people do get things wrong occasionally on track. It's just a common thing, right, across iRacing?
Oh, for sure, definitely. There's always tempers flaring everywhere, but it's good. The banter's good if it was just banter, but sometimes it goes a little bit further than banter. But it is what it is. It's throughout the whole community. But the racing's good. The service is awesome service. I just don't like their downtime on a Tuesday night for us. That always seems to happen. But look, they're always up to date with stuff, and it's always good. It's good racing.
Well, what is next for Graham Bunyan on your calendar, including US IndyCar League or outside of US IndyCar League? What kind of championships or other races you're looking to chase right now?
So I'm part of what is called the G Challenge, which is Logitech, right, sponsored by McLaren as well. I'm a little bit up in the air with that too, because they've changed the race time, so it's nice and early in the morning for me. It's a little bit later than what we are right now, but I have to see how we go. I've qualified third for the race coming up on the 28th of August. We'll see how we go. At the end of it all, hopefully we can get into the finals and get into the grand final and get over to LA and shoot it out over there.
Well, I would love to see
Las
that.
Las Vegas, I should say. Yeah.
If either way, if you make it to LA or Las Vegas, I'll try to get down there and meet you, and we'll do some VirtualRacing.Network stuff and get it out there. That's really cool that you're involved in that competition. It's international, and you're an international level, high level driver. So it's great to see you taking them on. Of course, those are the fans of the US IndyCar League are going to be watching to see the champion take on the rest of the world in the Logitech G Challenge. So make sure to check that out online. And in the future, we do hope that we're going to get a chance to see you take on the rest of the field. We know we're going to have some more drivers entering the series. But once again, congratulations on your many victories this season, your dominance in numerous races, and a very well-earned season championship here in Season 11. Congratulations, Graham Bunyan.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you. And just on the Las Vegas thing, apparently I've been told if I do make it there, I'm not going to make it to the race. Apparently I'm going to be absolutely wasted. And if we do get to the race, we're going to be racing drunk. So it is. Well, you never know. It could happen. But I've just had another card thrown at me as well over my shoulder here that David Strid wanted to thank his sponsor, Jim's Dog Wash, who Stephen Harding, one of our mates at the moment, is in hospital with a bit of a health issue going on. He's had a bit of a scare. So we'll chuck that out there for him. And yeah, StickQuik, very good. Thanks again, once again. Richard, Jason, Richard's suffering his own health battles there at the moment too. So hopefully everything's all good and well there. And all the best for the next season.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that. And we do wish you the best of luck. And regardless of how it turns out in Las Vegas, you're our champion here at the US IndyCar League. Thank you so much for bringing a class show. And like I said, we'll look forward to seeing you next season. Thanks, Graham.
Nah, no worries. Thank you. And thanks for putting on a great show.
You betcha. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that has been the end of Season 11. And if I take a look over in the points, we have James Kennedy. Let's see here. No, let me go back to the points. I was looking at something else because I'm going to give you another points here. Total points. Here we go. So your final points, although I'm not going to be able to show it on the screen, Graham Bunyan, of course, your champion with 517 points. He did end up with 7 wins, the most of anybody in the series. Jason Lowe, second, 354 points. Howard Livingston, 338. I don't believe this counts the drop races. but that's the way that it finishes up there. Now, I was looking at something else. I'm going to try to get this up on the screen. And this is the incidents per race. Now, this was slightly before this was just before today's race. And just before today's race, it was Rick Kelbaugh. Now, this, so that I can spell this out, this incidents per race is only eligible if you've completed more than 2 races. So 3 races or more in the series, because there were a number of drivers who only completed 2. But for those who completed more than 2 races, so initially, or so kind of the regulars, Rick Kelbaugh was tied with James Kennedy with 0 incidents total the entire season. But that did change today, and it was, in fact, Mr. StickQuik, Rick Kelbaugh, picking up 2 incident points today, and Kennedy with the victory, getting 0 incident points, therefore winning not only the race, but also taking the cleanest racer of the US IndyCar League championship in the process as well. So just another way to look at the clean racing this season. But I tell you what, this has been a fantastic season. It was filled with so much great racing, and it was absolutely my pleasure to bring it to you all season long here on VirtualRacing.Network. Again, my name, Trevor Greenfield. I've had the pleasure of doing all the broadcasts this season alongside many times Matt A. Kingsbury, the frequent IndyCar driver who's legendary around the iRacing circuit, covering some of the races with me. Thank you to him, as well as thank you to Jason Lowe and all of the competitors from this season. It was a fantastic one. This race was a good one. So if you missed any of the races, go back in the playlist. You can watch them all now live on YouTube at your leisure, I guess, on demand. And in the meantime, get ready for season 12 coming up in just a couple of weeks. I know I'll be looking forward to it. We'll get all those races up here and scheduled on VirtualRacing.Network. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, you should right now. Just hit that big red subscribe button. So for myself, all the competitors at US IndyCar League and the staff, as well as all of us here at VirtualRacing.Network, just love to say thank you so much for making this such a successful season, growing our subscriber count, and as a result, we'll look forward to seeing you in season 12. So for now, that's it from Chicagoland, and we'll look forward to seeing you in season 12. Bye-bye, everybody.